And how many people got to go through new user training, the new user training video already? Anyone? Bueller? Okay, good. And Stuart, you watched it, it sounds like. Kelly? Kelly, did we get anything from you? Did you watch the new user training? Perfect. Okay, so we're going to log in to Nav with a username and a password. And when we get in here, the first thing you want to do is check which company you're in, which will be right here. If you're in the wrong company, then you will go up here and you'll log into My Settings. Yep. If you only Kelly and Dave have passwords, so if you guys can, that would be awesome because it would be nice for you to kind of be walking through this at the same time. I will show that because we're going to be setting up users as well during this. So let me get to that after I go finish this up. So in the company, you can click the little arrow and you're going to be able to pick different companies. All of you should be in GRD because that's Grown Rogue Distribution. That's where all the inventory and sales are going to be logged. And technically, if there's anything you guys want to do, like you want to test something, you're going to go to the sandbox. It says Sanebox, but you know we want to call it sandbox because that's where you're going to play and put things in today. So this is where we go to make any changes. Now you have to log out. So you have to hit OK once you've changed the company, and then you actually have to log out and re-log back in to get to that place. Does that make sense to everyone? No. So once you sign in the next time, it will be in the sandbox if you've been playing, or once we move to completely live, it'll all be in one company. You won't have to switch companies unless there's something that you're trying to do in another company for something else. Yeah. The other piece of this is under here. I don't know if you've, I'm pretty sure you went through this in the new user training, but this is where you can type in literally anything. And this is where you'll be able to find information or get to something specifically. So like if I'm trying to add a new user to this, right? This is where I would go and I would type in users, and when I get to the new user, or when I look at users, usually the cogs mean that this is something that is like a master, right? And this is more informational, right? And then this little checkbox down here means that you're going through steps. So this would require steps for me to do. This would be basically making a change to the system because there's cogs next to it, and then this would be something that's going to give me information like on how to do what I'm going to do. Does that make sense to everyone? Kind of the three different icons? Cool. So I think Brittany was asking for a new user. That's correct. Okay, so if I go in and I create a new user, I'm going to type in Brittany. Let me know if your name is misspelled or anything. Okay. last name. Yep. Okay. All right. It will create. So I have to then put in her password or her email address. So it's yep. And then you can just copy and paste things in here. And then this is where I would set up like, so I put in Brittany with a $18 and a capital B. So, and then I hit OK, and that confirms the password. And then now she'll be able to go and log in. And she'll show up as a user. Sometimes what I have to do is I have to refresh the page completely for something to show up live. So sometimes if it doesn't show up immediately, you just have to refresh the page and then it will. Now, so I set up the website. If you go to your chat section over here, it should be this little button that looks like a chat number. Yeah. And then, so in this system, the main things that you guys are going to be doing are obviously checking inventory, working with inventory. Everything that you put into here helps you because it's going to send those, it's going to start forecasting. So every time you put in a piece of inventory, this is going to send a notification not only to the warehouse or whoever is in charge of that, in charge of getting your order ready, right, and getting everything ready for you. It's also going to send a notification to the production team so that they know that sales are coming in for a certain piece of inventory, which then helps them start, making more of that product for you to sell. So everything ties together in this system, which is why you're moving to it. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay. I'll ask them what that means. If you can just paste the error into the chat box, I'll make sure that happens. And you're going to get a video recording of this afterwards too, so anything that you want to rewatch is going to be available. Now, the main piece that we need you guys to focus on over this next week is we have started putting in customers, and this was from the Zoho database. So what we need is we need to know basically more information about the customers and people who are related to those customers is going to be critical because this allows you to do everything, right? So instead of switching to a Gmail and sending out an email, or instead of having a separate place for invoicing, this is all going to come from kind of one place, if that makes sense. So if we're looking at FreshBuds in here, right now you're going to be able to make a phone call from here. You'll be able to send FreshBuds an email straight from here. You'll be able to click on all of these links from your mobile phone or even your computer and try and call them or email them right away. So everything should be kind of simple in here. Now, if there's not a this is all alphabetical right now. If there's not a a company that you're working with, all you need to do is go in and create a new entity. So when we go through this, you don't need to worry about the number for the entity. That'll get automatically created. But if we have like, you know, Portland homegrown, right? Then this is what shows up, right? And we need to put in as much information here as possible. So you want their address, their phone number, if you put in zip code will automatically put in city and state. So you don't need to do that. So if I put in 97504, it'll automatically pull in Medford, Oregon. I don't even need to do that. I can just go over here and start filling out email and phone number. Now in here, you also have the ability to alter. So if we want to have weed maps in addition to their homepage, you can add that as a field. So anything that you guys would use that helps you contact the customer or have information about them, anything that's going to help you for making sales with that customer, we're going to be going and backdating information on the customers that we have. So putting in sales history and everything. This will also be where you go and check to make sure that you shouldn't be recontacting a customer to get reorders. Does anyone have any questions right now? No, doesn't sound like it. So every section, it has contact people that you can put to create who is the people that you're talking to there and who are the people above them that you want to be talking to. So this helps you manage your contact list at the organizations, especially since there's such a high turnover with bud tenders. I know that's really important to be able to kind of switch out those contacts and whatnot. So all you have to do, we'll go through the contact in a later phase, but this is a great section to kind of walk through. Has everyone, do you guys have task lists related to customers currently, or any sort of standard process that you do with customers? Dave? Hey, Dave? Do you guys have a standard process for customers or for contacting people? Is it every so often? Do you guys want reminders set up? What are important sections in here for you guys? Okay. Okay, so creating a to-do list sets a reminder for you of basically when you want to contact someone again. So let's say you have a weekly timetable that you're supposed to be contacting a customer. This is where you could set that up, and you can set it up to reoccur every week. You can attach the salesperson. I've attached some of the salespeople already that you guys had told me about. This is where you can kind of set that up and make sure that you decide how often you want to contact them. So each individual account, this should be set up for that, so that if anything happens and you're sick or someone's supposed to be checking on that account when you're on vacation, these reminders would go into your account. and when we would remind your email to do something. So that's called your creating a to-do list. You can also create opportunities that are related to new contacts, and assign those to salespeople. And you can create entire cycles in this and have like a cycle code. So setting up kind of whether you're talking to the cycle or you're, negotiating the first sale, that process we don't have right now in this system, but we can put it in this system if you kind of walk us through what you want. Right from here, you can start assigning a sales quote and go and make that quote an opportunity. You can kind of look at statistics related to how an account's been doing. So part of this is we need to know what steps are currently in your process that we don't know about, that would help you go further and make this more streamlined for you. Does that all make sense? Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Okay, so the first thing to do here is if you're going to create a sales quote, you can create a new one. If you have other ones, it'll already be in here. But this is where you go in and you pick the customer. So if I'm picking Fresh Buds, right, versus so if quotes are on the spot though, they should be made from this because you need to be checking that you have inventory. Or you need to be notifying the warehouse and the people in the rest of the company what needs to get prepared. So everything kind of needs to move to this, where even if you're using this in your phone, this is where you take that order. Does that make sense? So everything's going to go into this, and if you guys don't use it, it's going to throw everyone else off because that order won't get prepared by the warehouse. An invoice or a sales quote won't get created, which means Kelly won't be notified or Brittany won't be notified of that to create a manifest. Like this entire process to help create a manifest, entire manifest can go into this platform and be created to get submitted. So this is where, we're a little unfamiliar with the sales process right now. And we need to understand what next steps are important for you guys to make this easier and make this so that everything could be used from a salesperson's phone, or if they have tablets, if you want tablets, and that's what we need to get. If there's customizations to these fields that we need to add, what is going to make this faster and better for you? There can be checklists in here that we can create where someone has to get a certain amount of information, or certain steps need to be taken so that once this is made, it automatically, you send it to someone for approval, or you don't send it to someone for approval and it goes straight to warehousing for them to start creating the order. Like, these next steps are really critical to help take it from, here's my customer, and then let's say, I have a contact under one of the customers. When that contact that I have under the customer is going to, that's going to be associated with the sale as well, because this is the person I called or emailed to get the sale. and then the people who are supposed to prepare the order and create, the next steps or get a reminder that they're going to be dropping off, all of that happens from this one system. Does that all make sense? Are there any questions? Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So all of the contacts that we had, that we know of, are in the system. We do need you to put in anyone that you have that is not currently in this system. So that is a goal by next week, that all of your contacts and all of your customers that you work with or that you are pursuing go in this system. So we went over how to add, a customer, right? If we go and we look up customers down in the CRM, or even if we're just on the like if we go and we look at the CRM right down here, you're going to see all the contacts, companies that you work with, and you can select any of those, and then you're going to be able to add a new customer or a new contact card. So does anyone have an example that goes with one of their clients, since we have no contact cards in here? Portland Pot Shop, right there. Okay, so if we go into Portland Pot Shop and we hit edit, yeah, right. And so who is the main contact there? So Lenny, okay. And you have his phone number? Oh, okay. Do you have her phone number? Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is, this is going to be a person instead of a company, and then we are going to tie this to Portland Pot Shop. So that ties them to the company. He can edit any other information that he wants related to this, and all he has to do is click out of it, and now Lenny is in there if he looks up contacts, or if he goes to the company and he looks up Portland Pot Shop, he's going to see in there that Lenny is now under the contact persons. Another piece of this is creating any notes So if there's preferences that your customers have, this is a great place to put in information, or on specific days, notes that you have related to something that happened. So if they tell you, like, I hated the shatter, like no one's buying it, you can put in, Blue Magoo shatter not moving well, right? And that way, if you ever have to go back and look at information related to this, it's not just in statistics of number of interactions, how much you've made from them, and any opportunities that the system thinks are available. It's also in notes that you have related to that. This, you can put in complaints. So anything that's going wrong or problems that have happened for a customer, if orders are late, things are happening, you can put in those complaints as well. That's really important, just because if an account drops off, you want to know that certain things happened, and you want to document, especially if those things are outside of your control, because those are things that you can then go back and look and say, well, we had 30 late orders and they dropped us off. This is our issue, is timeliness, right, of getting the order there from the warehouse. Does anyone have any questions or anything that would be helpful to add to contact cards? Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is the contact card alone. We uploaded them as customers. So we went into, like if you go here, you can type in customers, and we go down to the cogs. We can see there's a customer group. But you can set up kind of like, you can set up pretty much anything related to this. So you can import, like if you create a bunch of contacts in the system, you can make them all switch over to customers and search. You can create customer first. And so down here, if we're looking, when you first log in, you're going to go down to your CRM, and then you're going to select customer search, and then you're going to put in the name of the customer and start filling in information. Or you can hit new and start filling in that information. And this will save the customer when you get out of it. As you can see, the companies that you work with did not go up when you attach the contacts of the customer, right? But you can just go into here as well and add them as a contact first if you prefer. It just kind of depends. You kind of have two ways to get there. But yeah. Yeah. So, let's see. So a big piece that we're curious about on our end is what you need for a sales quote or for information related to a sale. So if we look at what that process is that you currently have, what would be beneficial as far as we have a customer, right, and they want to place an order, what is that next step that's beneficial to you? Is there something that we need to do to change if you hit a sales quote in this section for adding new. Is there anything that you want to have look different or be different for information? Because if we pick, Portland pot shop, right? So if we go back, we create a new sales quote. Down here, we can start picking from items, and we can add something new to this as far as like what products you want to buy or they want to buy and what that description looks like. And then you can select the customer, and if it's a contact like Lenny, and then what day it's due by. So are there any fields in here that you would prefer to have, to not have? Any of these? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Yes. So yeah. Yeah, so we've been asking for the the what your sales forms look like so that we could get this in beforehand for a couple weeks, but we haven't seen anything come back. So if you guys want to send that to us, it'll really help for getting you know that into the system, those categories and those columns into the system. Cool. So in your sales process, do you get a quote first and then invoice, or do you go straight into invoicing? What is that process for you guys? Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is going to remove you needing to upload it to Xero because the entire accounting system is going to be here. This also will, if you want someone to review or check anything, this is where we need to know who else. So is there a warehouse person we need to be adding to this list to get notified to start preparing an order? What things help you from this process? Because you can see we have send approval, right? So if there's orders, does someone need to approve them? Does this need to go to someone so that the warehouse can check it off and say, great, the sales invoice is here. I've prepped your order and it's ready, and they send it back to you that it's been approved and your order's ready to bring to the client. What process is going to help you guys the most? Okay. 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 Yeah, totally. So what, I mean, what is kind of the plan, I guess, moving forward, knowing that you're not going to be uploading to zero, right? This is your new zero. So when a sales rep puts in a sales quote and that sales or an invoice and that invoice gets paid, it's all going to be in one system. It's all going to be automatically sent. Melanie's going to know, everyone's going to know what happened. Are you just going to be submitting manifests? Do you want to fulfill the order and then submit the manifest after, at that point? What's the best next step for you guys? Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Um, okay. So, do you when are you guys printing invoices at all? Is there anything that happens that's a physical copy that someone needs to get? Okay. So related to all of your sales invoices, the first thing that you can do as a sales rep is make this attachment and upload the file for a copy of everything related to that sales order. So that would be where you can add specifically your test results right here. Um, that we look, that's a great place to kind of add that. Um, and right now, okay, okay. It, no, this should all be in one place. So let's say that we get out of this area, right, and we go back. Um, so if I am looking for, if I go and I look, I'll be able to see the movement of products, but I'll also be able to go and look and see in cultivation basically um, what batches look like and what the test results are. So if this would be easier to have it attached when it gets shipped up as a printed version versus a digital one, this would kind of be the time to kind of decide. So currently, that process, they ship it up, they just send you an email with the test results, or they ship it up with the test results. How do they handle that when they're preparing it? Mm-hmm. Okay. So we can have all of that go into here, or if it's easier to just work off of that separate drive and then have the one interface. Yes. You ask us to do it. You tell us where it's better in the flow for you to be able to find something like that. So let's say we're in the customer and we're creating an invoice for a customer, right? I don't. I'm gonna say it's probably in this one. Yep. Okay. So, so if you want, like as an example, right? When I went into that customer, it said sales quote. If you want it to jump to straight make an invoice, that's something we would want to know to let them know as a customization. So that instead of creating sales quotes, you're always just going straight into an invoice. Once we're in, Heather, do we have product uploaded to this one? Yes, we do. Okay. Thank God. Okay, so let's say they're going to buy the, the Blue City Diesel cartridge, and you're going to tell it where you're pulling this from. So is this the Medford warehouse? Is this, like you just want to pull it from Medford? If you don't know, at least put in the quantity. So like if you don't know if it's warehouse 1 or warehouse 2, just put in the quantity, right? They want 50. And so we're going to take out most of these, right? We're going to take out all of these except for a couple. But all of these will have prices associated with them, so you'll be able to quote right there and then. And each batch is specifically going to have what's associated with it. So like the batch has the if there's a certain price that was paid for cost of goods, you're going to know what the cost, we could have it so that you know what the cost of goods sold is versus the retail price, right? So you know what you're able to do as a discount. We can know, like, at certain levels if you want to set certain types of discounts. So if a customer orders a quantity of 200, they get a set discount. We can kind of discount in any way you want. We just need to know what those things are that are going to make it easier for you to quote at different levels. And then if we're trying to have all of those attachments in here, they just need to know basically we're going to get a quote for a customization so that we could have the attachment associated with this blue diesel cartridge right in this system. and have the test results. And then you're actually able to email this directly to the customer or whoever you want to email it to. So if you're pulling stuff from the warehouse in Medford and they need to know that next week they need to have something shipped up to you by next week, this is where they would get a notification when you've saved the invoice. Does anyone have any questions? Does all of this make sense? Okay. So that's why I said one of our options here is to have a retail pricing versus cost of goods, and that would let you know what your flexibility is on the on what price discount you could give. Right. Yeah. You're able to put in how they want to pay, departments that this is going to. So, PDX versus Medford. One of the things that we've done is we've sectioned off. I have an Excel spreadsheet for different regions based on all of the dispensaries in the state. So we can talk through, like, if you want department codes to be separated, or territory codes to be associated with this in this area as well, and kind of everything that you want in here. Are there certain checklists that you need to go through as a sales rep that you guys could import or put in here for this? Are there certain, like, standard steps that you want them to follow every time they make an order or check on? Okay. So, yeah. Okay. You're definitely going to want your requested delivery date and everything. If you guys just want to go to straight to invoicing, we need to know that so that they have that customization set up once it moves to a live system. But in the meantime, you can always just hit that you want to create it into an invoice, and it'll copy over all the information. You can still go and add information to it, but at least if you had it started, you could do that. And then if you don't exit out of a page, it will save the invoice. So if you just click over to the left and get out of it, it will be posted. If you go to the X and you click out of it, then it will ask if you want to delete it or exit out. So those are kind of the big differences in this system. Is if you just click out of this, it will automatically save whatever changes you have made. If you don't exit out and try and stop the changes, it will do that. One of the options here is to open up everything in Excel to get a look at it. This allows us to see what fields you would like, or if you're trying to run analysis on anything. Yes, I'm on a Mac right now. It'll work on your tablets. It'll work on your phone. Everything. This is all a live software. So any web browser, this will work off of. Okay. So the main things that we need you guys to do by next week is to go through all the customers, make sure that any contact cards that are associated with them are done. Does anyone have any questions or need to run through that again? Yeah, today I will go in and create passwords, and I'm going to go and find out why Brittany needed administrative, access changes and approvals. Okay. All right. We are. So, do you guys, as part of your sales process, you guys end up scanning in stuff that's being taken in and out of inventory, correct? Okay. Just there. Okay. So one of the things that this allows you to do is scan in everything from your warehouses. So if you're checking things out, you can just scan with a barcode scanner. We're going to be getting specific barcode scanners and barcodes for that to make it faster for checkout, so that when you've created an invoice, it automatically does that. But and those scanners are Wi-Fi connected, and they store information. So it'll store if you've scanned something out of the warehouse, and if there's Wi-Fi at the warehouse, it'll automatically send that update. But if it's somewhere out in the field, for any reason you took that scanner with you, and there was a reason that they did not accept the product when it showed up, you could scan it to put it back into inventory. So I think those would normally just stay at the warehouse, but just in case, that is an option. I know that's the reason that's important is for updating inventory about harvest and what's available and getting processed. So that's kind of how that will work. Is there anything in the dispensary section that you guys would like to add as far as a field for customers that you're working with? Okay. Well, I think we're right about at lunchtime. Are there any questions or anything before lunch? Are you guys kind of ready for lunch? Okay. Probably like 30 to 45 minutes, and then kind of go over some. We have a video that we should kind of go through. So this system does allow for patients related to medical. So one of the things that we're going to be doing is taking out all of those so that they don't show up as accidental things that could be clicked on. But yeah. So if everyone just wants to get back on at about 12:30, that would be perfect. Okay. Cool. See you later. Okay. Support. Generally, yeah. Okay. I don't know. I can ask Brittany. Yeah, I don't know. Mm-hmm.